I want you to imagine a factory, but not a normal one that builds cars or phones. I'm talking about a factory that builds life. A factory so incredibly advanced that it constructs everything from the enzymes that are digesting your food right now to the antibodies that are fighting off germs.
So what is this factory? And where is it? Is it some top-secret industrial complex hidden away somewhere on the planet? Well, the answer is actually a lot closer to home.
That's right, there are literally trillions of these factories inside of you, humming along 24/7. They are the microscopic engines that take your genetic code and turn it into, well, you. And today, we're going to take a tour of that assembly line.
So, what do we call these tiny, incredible protein factories? Let's meet the star of the show.
They're called ribosomes. These little machines are amazing. They're made of two main parts, a large piece and a small piece, which are themselves built from proteins and a special kind of RNA. And when it's time to work, they just clamp together, ready to read instructions and start building.
Now, where you find these factories is really interesting. In our cells, some ribosomes just float around freely, making proteins that'll be used right there inside the cell. Others attach themselves to a sort of cellular highway system to build proteins that need to be shipped out. But in simpler cells like bacteria, they just float around. Now, that might sound like a tiny difference, but trust me, it's a huge deal, and we're going to see exactly why in just a bit.
You know, any factory needs three basic things, right? You need blueprints to tell you what to build, a crew to bring in the materials, and of course, the raw materials themselves. Our little cellular factory is no different, so let's meet the players.
First up, you've got the blueprint. This is messenger RNA, or mRNA for short. Think of it like a photocopy of just one recipe from the master cookbook, which is your DNA. That cookbook stays safe in the cell's main office, the nucleus. But this mRNA copy, it travels right out onto the factory floor, carrying the exact instructions for one specific protein.
Okay, you've got the plans. Now you need a courier to go get the supplies. That's the job of transfer RNA, or tRNA. Each tRNA molecule is a specialist. It has a unique three-letter code that acts like a key. Its job is to read a matching three-letter code on the mRNA blueprint, so it knows exactly which raw material to grab and bring to the assembly line.
And finally, the raw materials. These are the amino acids. There are 20 different kinds, and they are the basic building blocks of life. The whole point of the ribosome is to read the mRNA blueprint and link these amino acids together in the perfect sequence.
All right, we've met the whole crew and we've got our supplies. Now it's time to fire up the assembly line. This whole process of reading the blueprint and building the protein, it's called translation.
And it all happens in three main stages: initiation, elongation, and termination. A simple way to think about it is power on the machine, run the production line, and then ship the final product. So let's break that down. First up is initiation. The small piece of the ribosome grabs onto the mRNA blueprint and just starts scanning along until it finds the official start signal. As soon as it finds it, the first tRNA courier zips in with its amino acid, and then the large piece of the ribosome clamps down right on top. Boom! The factory is now fully assembled and ready to go. And now for the main event, elongation. The ribosome just starts chugging along that mRNA strip, reading it 3 letters at a time. And for every single code it reads, the correct tRNA courier flies in, locks into place, and drops off its amino acid. The ribosome then forges a powerful bond, linking that new amino acid to the growing chain. It's just this constant, perfect rhythm: read, deliver, link, and repeat.
And the speed here is just staggering. In bacteria, a single ribosome can add 20 amino acids to a protein chain every single second. That is an absolutely mind-blowing rate of production, and it happens with near-perfect accuracy. So after building at this incredible pace, the ribosome finally hits a stop signal on the blueprint. When that happens, special molecules swoop in and just snip the newly built protein chain free. The protein floats away to get folded into its final, complex 3D shape, and the ribosome itself, it just breaks apart, ready to find a new blueprint and start the whole process over again.
So, we've just seen this amazing microscopic machine hard at work. But why does it matter so much? Well, because this tiny process happening inside your cells, it affects everything about our lives.
To put it simply, without these factories, you wouldn't exist. The proteins they build do everything. They're the enzymes breaking down your food, the antibodies fighting off disease, the hemoglobin carrying oxygen in your blood. They build your muscles. They send signals in your brain. I mean it, they're the builders and the workers of your entire body.
And because this whole process is so fundamental, even one tiny mistake can have massive consequences. A single typo in that mRNA blueprint can cause the ribosome to pop in the wrong amino acid. In a disease like sickle cell anemia, just one wrong building block in the hemoglobin protein is enough to cause a life-altering illness. Precision is absolutely everything.
So remember that tiny little difference between our ribosomes and bacterial ones? Well, this is where it becomes a lifesaver. You see, many of our most powerful antibiotics are designed to specifically attack and shut down the bacterial ribosome. They basically jam the assembly line so the bacteria can't make the proteins it needs to survive. But because our ribosomes are slightly different, the antibiotic leaves them completely alone. It's a truly brilliant strategy for stopping an infection without harming our own cells.
And we've even learned how to become factory managers ourselves. In biotechnology, scientists can give the blueprint for human insulin to bacteria, basically hijacking their ribosomes. These little bacterial factories then start churning out massive quantities of life-saving medicine for people who have diabetes. Which really brings us to a final thought. We are learning the language of life itself, the operating manual for the most fundamental factory in the universe. We can already command these factories to build medicine for us. So the real question is, as our understanding gets deeper, what are we going to build next?